What's up, YouTube? It's Matt here, and today we're going to talk about why Bitcoin. Why should it be in your portfolio, and why you should start to educate yourself on Bitcoin in general and cryptocurrency. I've studied Bitcoin ever since Q3, Q4 of 2017, and I can honestly say that as long as you know what you're doing in the market, you'll be able to succeed in the market, and with doing so requires education. When you know what you're doing, the volatility in Bitcoin can be at heaven sent. And honestly, it's relatively easy to predict where the price is going in the mid to long term. The longer you're looking out with Bitcoin, the lesser the risk. The key to it is the technical analysis aspect and identifying when we are in an oversold and overbought situation on a macro scale of the Bitcoin price. It's that simple. Yes, the fundamentals are important too, and it's good to keep up with a rough gauge of where the fundamentals of the Bitcoin space is going and what institutions are doing. But for the most part, it's about the technical analysis. The fundamentals and volatility is why I choose Bitcoin to be a part of my portfolio. But the reason I make money is by using the technical analysis to take advantage of the opportunity and the volatility that's in this space. It may sound strange to some, but in this market, it's very important to identify where the herd is going and potentially doing the opposite. When everyone, I think Warren Buffett has talked about this, be greedy when people are fearful and be fearful when people are greedy. That aspect works well in Bitcoin. So when we're able to see the panic and we're able to see everyone saying oh no, Bitcoin's going to zero or it's going to go even lower and even lower, there tends to be a point where if you're using technical analysis, you'll be able to identify that the likelihood of us going much lower than this is highly unlikely, and this is actually a good buy-in point for the mid to long term in future bull markets. That's what we're trying to do, or that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what I'm encouraging my viewers to start doing in terms of, just learning about Bitcoin. You don't have to make Bitcoin your life. That's not even my type of. That's not what I'm trying to say. But just to be a part of your portfolio, you could be into real estate, you could be into stocks, you could have a business, many other different ways of making money. But I suggest that even having Bitcoin as just one extra asset can be crucial depending on, when it's undervalued and when it's overvalued. Well, you might be thinking Bitcoin used to be valued way less in USD value than it is today, back in 2011, 2010, 2012. So that is true, and obviously there's no time machine, so those gains or those opportunities at buying Bitcoin under $10 is no longer here with us today. Better times to buy Bitcoin than today would be pretty much its inception and most of 2020. So, that's the opportunity that is no longer here, but we have, I believe, we have opportunities in the future. The potential for tremendous gains in the past was great, was outsized, was massive, but to think that there will not be more great opportunities in the future, you would just be shooting yourself in the foot, in my opinion. There are people, after we hit our $20,000 mark in 2017, and we ran all the way down to sub 4,000 twice. There were many people that were thinking, well, it's over, it's going to zero, there's nothing else we can do, Well, what you guys would have been missing out on was the great opportunity that Bitcoin was providing once again, as it has so many times in the past. It's up to us to be educated on the space and use technical analysis to identify those buy-in points. I've personally taken several big investments into Bitcoin below the price of 13,000. And that is solely with the fact that I took the time, I studied Bitcoin in the 10-year span roughly that we've had it, and I was able to figure out a pattern. I was able to figure out when it's overvalued, undervalued, and when to just, because when you can identify the opportunity, you have a leg up on about most people in this space. Some people in this space are just here for they see Bitcoin going up and they just like, I just need to buy in, right? That's great and all, but you're not going to get the best out of Bitcoin if you don't understand, it on a technical level. When you look at the historical price of Bitcoin in its lifespan, we have seen major corrections that bottomed out in November 2011, January 2015, December 2018, and March 2020. Every time following those dates, roughly, give a month or so, every time following those dates, we have seen a strong recovery in Bitcoin, in USD value. And that is why I believe it's important that we do our homework, get into the technicals of the Bitcoin space, so that when a great opportunity like the ones I just mentioned, they could happen in 2021, they could happen in 2022, 2023, etc. It doesn't really matter about when it happens. It just matters about being prepared for that when it does happen. You can take, or we can take as a group, the opportunity of a lifetime. Could you imagine liquidating some of your stocks or doing a cash out refinance on a property or two during or near the bottoms of a Bitcoin bear market when it's transitioning into a bull market? Or even just having cash on hand prepped for the opportunity could also work as well. The name of the game is not trying to predict the bottom of a Bitcoin market. It's to get it close. It's to get close. It's if as long as you invest within a month or a margin of months period towards the bottoming out of the market, you'll be fine in the long term. And on the way up, you'll be able to take profits when you're using technical analysis and your own overall judgment. You'll be able to take profits on the way up, and then when you can identify a time, because as we know, Bitcoin always comes down, at least historically up until this point in 2021, you don't want to essentially have most of your money, and this is just my opinion, I'm not a financial advisor, you wouldn't want to have a lot of your money to be sitting in Bitcoin past a certain date. That's just how it's always been, because as we know, it gets really heated and then it gets really cold. Once you're fully liquidated, or even the majority liquidated, or even a portion, if you have a more long-term mindset, you'll be able to have that money on the side or in other investments when you're waiting for that next opportunity in Bitcoin to arise again. The gains for each bull market, while still is life-changing, is diminishing with every bull market that comes thereafter. So it's key to start learning as soon as possible so you can take advantage of as much of the gains while it's still available and while you still have time. That's all I have for today. Any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Treat the like button like a Tinder date and smash it before you get out the door. Subscribe, and thank you for watching.